Hi, my name is Juanita, and I gave birth to my son Roman in September 2017. I gave birth at home in a big pool of water with my husband, a midwife, the midwife's assistant, and a doula. My birth trauma is a little double whammy. I am a sexual assault survivor, and I was unaware that birth could be so triggering. I was so triggered during birth that I dissociated and zoned out, and my midwife had to coach me back in pretty heavily a few times. Then, after my birth of my son was successful, about 45 minutes and then 60 minutes, my placenta never detached. So after my midwife tried to manually scrape it out, which is excruciating, we had to call 911. So about 6 EMTs and firefighters entered my apartment while I laid on my couch bleeding naked and carried me out naked on a stretcher under a white sheet, like a dead person. Then we had to go to the emergency room where the doctor tried to scrape it out again by hand. They still couldn't get it, so then they had to take me to the OR and pump me full of all the drugs that I had opted out of when giving birth to my son, including a spinal tap. They got it out, and then I had to be in the hospital for about 12 hours, which they tried to continue to keep me in. I lost so much blood that I was on bed rest for 7 weeks. I think one of the hardest parts was I chose to leave my son at home when we went to the hospital. I didn't want to admit him through the ER, so I left him at home with our doula and the midwife's assistant, and that was a lot of guilt of leaving my newborn son at 1 hour old at home away from me. I would end up having lots of breastfeeding issues and kind of detachment from him, and I blame that a lot on being away from him at the beginning of our birth. It was rough. I didn't tell my family or friends anything about going to the hospital for months. I told my husband not to tell anybody. I didn't want anybody to know. I had a lot of feelings that I couldn't put words to, a lot of shame about my birth not being the way I had planned it to. I've done a lot of healing now. I'm still doing a lot of healing because I am terrified of giving birth again. I really want another home birth. I really want more babies, and I would love them to be birthed at home. But I don't know if unmedicated home birth is in my cards anymore. And that makes me really sad. I've been doing lots of reading. I highly suggest 2 books, When Survivors Give Birth and The Body Keeps the Score. They are both on how trauma resides in our body. I have gone to a survivor retreat. I've been doing lots of woo-woo work like Reiki on the womb massages, meditation, yoni egg use, masturbation even. I've just been very disconnected from my vagina and my womb since he's been born, and so I'm trying to intentionally reconnect, and I am feeling more reconnected, but I still feel like I haven't scratched the surface as far as the fear. I understand that a placenta that does not detach is not common. It did not happen with my first birth. It probably will not happen again. So that's not the part I'm fearful of. I am fearful of the survivor part being triggered. And I don't know if that was related at all to the placenta not detaching. I'm going to keep reading and keep talking about it. I'm processing it through Instagram right now. It took me over a year to look at any of my birth videos and birth photos, and I'm slowly looking through them and processing in a series called Processing Birth and Trauma. So thank you very much for listening and being part of the conversation. And I'm hoping by learning and talking and reading and breathing and meditating and conversations with Goddess that I can have more babies again, and hopefully at home. Thank you.